What's up, everybody? Andy Hateley here. Just want to thank all our new subscribers that came from Lone Star Drift. Big thanks to Aaron over there for hooking us up and giving us a part in his video there. Looks like we got around 300 new subscribers so far, so just wanted to show you guys around the car, show you guys what it's all about, and working on the vlog right now, so the new vlog from Texas should be out by the weekend, and also releasing a teaser for it today as well. So just want to keep the content rolling out for you guys. Thanks for watching, and let's take a look at this car here. Whee! Okay, so this is my car. It's a 1989 E30. It originally started as a BMW 325. And it's sort of morphed into my masterpiece here. So let's start at the front. First thing you're probably going to notice is the fact that I added a pretty badass work light to my car. I did that in the engine bay and in the interior, just so when we're working at night we have eyes on everything. We don't have to be sitting there holding the flashlight and stuff. It just makes everything a lot easier to get work done on the night events, and it looks pretty freaking cool. So kill two birds with one stone right there. So engine bay, we got an LS3 in there, crate engine that I picked up from Jegs with a Magnuson Supercharger on top. We have dual valve springs from Comp Cams on there, as well as some Comp Cams chromoly push rods, because these engines like to bend push rods at high RPM. So if your LS all of a sudden starts sounding like a Subaru, check your push rods. A lot of hoses, a lot of weird stuff going on in here. Power steering reservoir right there. Coolant reservoir for the supercharger. This supercharger does not use a typical intercooler like the other ones do. This one has its coolers inside the manifold right here. So there are your two lines, and you have coolers running across right there that the air passes through, and then you have a small radiator down there. Let's see if I can get a better view of it. It's a little dark, but you can see it. So you have a nice little thin radiator down there that the water runs through and keeps the charger nice and cool. Osmo's running out of battery here, so I got to make this happen quick. Other than that, pretty simple. First real engine swap I did, first headers I made are on here. Just sort of figured everything out as I went along, and it turned out all right. The engine hasn't had any problems over the years. I started out running it naturally aspirated, and then put nitrous on it, and then went to the supercharger after we suffered an intake backfire back in Florida in 2015, I believe it was, and blew up the whole intake manifold and went supercharged. So if you got any questions about my engine setup, feel free to message me. This one's going to be coming out of the car at the end of the year. We're going to be putting in a RHS block from Comp Cams, some RHS heads, some BC Racing crankshaft, and CP Carrillo rods and pistons. So we should be in the 700-800 horsepower range for next year. This setup currently makes about 625. That was put down before we put the quick change in the car, so we're probably down to the high fives, 575-ish, 580, somewhere in there, because the quick change robs quite a bit of horsepower. If you're wondering how that all works, check out my previous vlog. I did a great explanation on explaining how the quick change works, and when you see it and you see what it's spinning, you'll understand why it robs that much more horsepower. What else we got here? Tube frame front end. I do all my own fabrication. So I did this tube frame front end with tubing couplers up here, down here on both sides, right there, and up here. So the whole front end with the fenders and all, I can actually unbolt the fenders, take off these back 3 bolts, and the fenders, headlights, grills, everything just comes off in one piece. So it's kind of like a cheap man's one-piece front end like you see on drag cars. Just makes it a lot easier to tear the car down and get to the front of the engine or pull the engine out when we need to. Okay, battery died right there, but we're back. So let's turn that guy on. I believe I was talking about the tube frame front end here. Let's take you in a little deeper there. I cut off the frame rails right about here, so you can see. You can't see very well, but cut off the frame rails right about there, and got everything basically welded, two pieces of 2x3 steel tube together, 07 3 wall, and sort of made my own little I-beam structure there for the frame rails to protect the engine, put a cross beam in front of it so the engine is well protected. Unfortunately with this car it's kind of square, so there's not a whole lot of space between the engine and whatever you're going to be crashing into. So I'm trusting that the tube frame front end up here will absorb some of that impact and hopefully save my engine when and if I do stuff this thing into a wall. So the car's not on the lift right now. I'll do another video taking you guys through the underside, showing you all the suspension bits and all that good stuff. Unfortunately, I dislocated a rib 2 days ago, so I can't really do much work on this thing right now. So I'm just kind of at a standstill editing the vlog and getting everything else done. Interior-wise, pretty simple. I wanted to keep it sort of feeling like the E30 does from the factory, so I kept the factory door panels and all that. They fit the roll cage and everything, so you know, just kept it like it was, like it feeling nice and comfortable in there. Got a Tex Racing SR1 for the transmission here. We got a powered by Max handbrake setup. Whole bunch of auto meter gauges because I didn't want to buy a single gauge setup because they're really expensive. Driven steering wheel. Got our fire suppression system down there. Got our intakes coming back to the radiator. Those go back into, I don't know if you can see them, into 4 little pots right there with 4 inline fans. That keeps the top of the radiator nice and happy because it's kind of forced up against the trunk here. Other than that, it's pretty simple in here. Just typical drift car interior. I just like keeping it kind of nice and clean and neat. Still utilize the center console because I could. And yeah, let's move back to the trunk here. So, trunk. It's pretty dirty back here, but you get the idea of what's going on. There is a whole lot going on, is what's going on back here. So, obviously, radiator down here. Fuel cell, these are the shock reservoirs for our JRZ shocks. This big boy right here is a 4-gallon reservoir for our water sprayer system. I use a AEM water methanol pump on that. I've been using just window washing pumps for a while now, and they just kept failing, so I got something a little stronger to make it last a little bit longer. They just kept going out almost every event, which was kind of annoying. So oil cooler, oil filter, catch can, expansion tank, I guess you'd call it, for the radiator. That's our high point right there. And whew, that's about it back here. Like to keep things nice and clean. Got our AccuSump hiding in there. Our fuel vent right here with its little pigtail curl on it so that no fuel ends up coming out of the fuel cell. And yeah, that's about it. So I want to thank you guys for subscribing. Thank you guys for being a part of this here, and I hope to get you guys some good stuff here coming soon. We got All-Star Bash coming up. I'm going to be heading up to Winter Jam as well, so I'll be doing vlogs on both those events, and you'll get an idea of what it's like to just do some fun events on the West Coast. Yeah, thanks again, everybody. Thank you, Aaron Lucy, for having us on your video there, doing the interview with me, and thank you for spotting for me, bud, in Texas. That was great. Aaron, I don't know if you guys know, but Aaron, I didn't have a spotter for Texas, so I hit up Aaron a couple days before and asked him if he wanted to help out, and he said he would. So he did a great job. He's definitely the best spotter I've ever had, and you know, had a great time out in Texas. What can I say? So thank you everybody for watching.